This is a leadership challenge. Last time I checked, Elon Musk doesn't have a vote in Congress.
But look, President Musk this morning made it clear with all his vast government experience.
You know for a fact it's driving Trump nuts, everyone saying President-elect Musk. I mean, even Bernie got in on the act.
As I am sure you have heard, there is a lot that's going on here in Washington, D.C. Bottom line, after all is said and done, is that after months of negotiations, Senate Democrats and House Republicans reached an agreement called a continuing resolution. But then, out of nowhere, the wealthiest man in the world, Elon Musk, began tweeting his opposition to this legislation. The wealthiest person in the world, who spent at least $277 million to elect Donald Trump in a Republican Congress, has now claimed complete ownership of that party.
In case you didn't know, Donald Trump suffered a humiliating setback this week regarding the congressional spending bill. Republicans in Congress failed to pass a pared-down spending bill, and the rejected Trump-backed package sent shockwaves across the political landscape, with Democrats swift to point out the obvious, how incapable Republicans are when it comes to their job, governing.
At this moment.
I certainly understand what you're saying, but at the same time, with all due respect, sir, you're going after the top Democrat in the Senate and a lame duck Democratic president. Your conference, the House Republican Conference, we go through this every single time Republicans control the House. You guys can't pass legislation. You can't govern.
Respectfully, Jake, we've actually passed a lot of
spending legislation, government funding legislation. I'm talking about government funding legislation.
We've passed a lot of legislation that has languished down the hall in the Senate.
Government funding legislation. Every time we go through this.
Respectfully, we passed a number of appropriations bills through the House floor. We passed all 12 through committee. We couldn't even get to a conference committee because Chuck Schumer and Senate Democrats, again, passed exactly 0 bills.
More so, it appears that they don't know who they're serving under. Is it Donald Trump or is it Elon Musk?
Is it clear to you who Senator Schumer should be calling and negotiating with at this point? Is it Speaker Mike Johnson? Is it Donald Trump? Is it Elon Musk?
Let me say this one more time. There is no one for Leader Schumer to negotiate with. The Republicans can't get their own act together. And until they can, there's nothing for us to do. We have a deal. There's a deal sitting on the table. You know what? The Republicans right now could go back over there and vote, send the deal that had been negotiated, which would pass because it would have bipartisan support, send it over to the Senate. I predict it would pass the Senate and we would be done. Crisis averted. But the Republicans would rather have a crisis, would rather blow this up because they're all doing whatever the great and powerful Mr. Musk wants them to do.
Do you think there's going to be a government shutdown?
Ask Elon Musk.
And Congresswoman, you did mention Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Yesterday at 4:15 a.m., Elon Musk tweeted, this bill should not pass. We can show this to our viewers if we have the graphic available right there. 4:15 a.m. yesterday. Trump did not come out and say anything about all of this on social media until late yesterday afternoon, nearly 13 hours later. We can put that Truth Social post from Donald Trump up there if we can. I guess, what are your thoughts on all of this? I mean, what's the feeling among Democrats right now? Who's in charge? Is it Elon Musk? Is it Donald Trump? What's going on?
And this just provides a mere taste of what's to come. This sense of chaos and unpredictability that runs rife through the Republican Party.
We are going to increase the debt ceiling, not just $4 trillion, that's false. We have spent $4.7 trillion in additional debt in the last 19 months. We're going to increase the debt by $5 trillion. That's what's going to happen right here by Republicans, increasing the debt $5 trillion. And what are you doing in the same bill? $110 billion unpaid for, because you never have any ounce of self-respect to go out and campaign saying you're going to balance the budget, and then you come in here and pass $110 billion unpaid for.
This just stinks. That's why America doesn't trust government, and it's for good dadgum reason.
And you said shut it down.
That's what it takes to bring us to the table.
Any extra supplemental ought to stand on its own merits, not be attached to it. And it ought to have pay-fors And the debt limit must not be increased without commensurate spending cuts and fiscal reform. When I ran for office, I said that I would not vote to raise the debt ceiling. And so I've never voted to raise the debt ceiling. And I love Donald Trump, but he didn't vote me into office. My district did. You want to shut it down?
And here we were told after Trump's election win that Republicans were going to be unified under the MAGA movement, but they can't even agree on a simple spending bill.
Those are the kinds of things that came out of this. And the reason that people are saying that Trump is the unelected president, not only because of the hundreds of millions of dollars that he paid to get Donald Trump elected, is that Donald Trump wasn't kicking up a fuss about the bill before Elon Musk got a bee in his bonnet. He wasn't saying anything. And then Musk gets mad and floats things about bioweapons labs and the stadium, the DC stadium thing, which he got completely wrong. And suddenly this is happening. So I don't want anyone to have a day without their paycheck, let alone during the holidays. And Donald Trump suffered through this. Remember when he closed the government for 35 days over the holidays, and his public perception tanked a little bit at that moment. And obviously we don't want that, but Democrats, why should we help out with this?
Vote on the foreign aid. Let's vote on farm and agriculture. Let's vote on spending in the CR. Let's do it separately.
Okay.
This would have been a lot easier.
Right. I mean, but what have you guys been doing then for the last 85 days?
That's a great question. I've been filing a lot of bills legislatively.
No, but who's in control? Republicans have the House, right? So what has the Republican Party been doing for the last 85 days if they leave this to the last second and they can't even agree on it?
Well, this is what Washington always does. We've seen this movie before. It's kind of like Groundhog Day.
All right, so you do the same thing every time.
With the man at the center, not necessarily the world's biggest narcissist, but the world's second biggest narcissist making a push for first place, Elon Musk. An unelected official, I should note, with no government title or position, billions and billions richer already after Trump's election win, causing absolute mayhem in Washington.
Tesla, his electric vehicle company, shot up after the election. The company is now worth 25 times what General Motors is worth. He's obviously counting on government policy to help him keep out Chinese imports, put in other EV regulations that will favor Tesla, and so buyers are buying it. SpaceX only does its valuation twice a year because it's not publicly traded. But what's happened since the election is it's raised some more money at a value that is 67% higher than what it raised it at just 6 months earlier. SpaceX obviously is heavily dependent on government contracts and government support for its launches. Now a $350 billion company, the most valuable private company in the world. His net worth has gone up 135% since the election, $276 billion. He's now worth $480 billion.
Could he not have the power to say, pull federal funding or pull federal contracts from a competing EV company, for example?
And according to those close to Trump's team, it's not sitting well with the president-elect that people are referring to Elon Musk as the master behind this whole movement. Because one thing Donald Trump cares about more than anything is his own ego and himself. Regardless of the fact that the American people will just be collateral when it comes to this spending bill, if this has damaged his ego, as people are alluding to, I predict the honeymoon period will be coming to an end very soon.
Action. He didn't buy himself. Listen, Donald Trump's a billionaire. He didn't get bought by Elon Musk. He didn't get bought by Washington, D.C. Listen, Elon is a character in Donald's play, and you're in Donald Trump's
Do you let us know that he's a character in Trump's play, Brian? I don't know that
if you expect Elon Musk has watched it for the last 8 years and realized there's only one executive producer in this show, and that's Donald Trump. And Elon's an actor. And what do executive producers do to actors? They fire them and they hire them. And Elon Musk is no different than every other big actor in this place, whether it was Steve Bannon, whether it was Kellyanne Conway. Everyone plays their role, but at the end of the day, there's one executive producer and there's one CEO in this country, and that's President Trump.
Olivia, did the Republicans see Elon Musk as this, to your words, big character in the play?
Real quick, Meta just changed their algorithm to suppress political content. Please follow our Instagram at MeidasTouch right now as we head towards 400,000 followers so you don't miss a beat.